Hey, welcome to Intern Connect, the podcast where we prove the best place to launch your career might be closer than you think. I'm your host, Karen George, the program manager for Hello West Michigan. Whether you're halfway through your first internship, still figuring out what to do with your life, or just trying to find a coffee shop that isn't a 45-minute drive away, this podcast is for you. West Michigan is having a moment. From the lakeshore to downtown Grand Rapids, companies here are doing big things, and they want you to be a part of it. Each episode, we'll sit down with former interns who turned their summers into careers, local coordinators who know what it takes to stand out, and HR leaders who are actively looking for the next generation of West Michigan talent. Now let's get connected. I'm here today with Daniel Quintanilla, the Director of Talent Programs from Gentex. Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today. Can you start off by talking us through your career journey? Where did you start? Where are you now, and what have you learned along the way?
Yeah, I had what you would call a not traditional journey to where I am today. So actually, 17 years old, had my first child. So senior year in high school, right? So this is actually a good conversation I have with a lot of students who maybe go through some adversity and kind of think that that's my story. Well, it doesn't have to be, right? So either way, senior year in high school kind of changed my plans. That time I had a couple scholarships to play basketball, baseball in college, much younger, thinner days, by the way. But so now I was going to have a son, right? And that definitely changed some things. I
Absolutely.
didn't start college right away. Had to start working, I had to pay for a family at that point. So I started working, but in my time working, I knew that there's always more. I had more I wanted to do. There's always some leadership capacity there, capabilities kind of thing. And eventually got married, had family, so started the family, but then started at Gentex actually, and their tuition reimbursement, because at the time, I mean, everybody knows daycare is crazy expensive.
Yes, yeah.
And another crazy, I have 6 kids, right? So we
Wow,
don't
yeah.
have, 1 or 2, we have 6 kids.
Yeah.
So my wife had to kind of say, hey, I'm going to support you while you go to college, work full time. So then I got home and I'm writing papers, I'm doing homework. So she kind of was superwoman while I, got my degree working at Gentex, which through the tuition reimbursement they paid for. Otherwise I couldn't afford it. Got my degree at Gentex. So I started production there actually, and moved into lower level leadership roles. Eventually, after I want to say 8 years, became a department manager. So led a department, started running prototype. In the meantime, if anybody knows Gentex, we're a very technology heavy company. So not an engineer, but technical capabilities, right?
Yeah.
So ran prototype as well. And so I did that for many years. And then in 2018, decided to make the jump into human resources. And in that time, it was talent acquisition. So started recruiting specifically for operations. I'd come from operations. And then in 2020, when the world shut down, I got a promotion. This was super weird, right? And then I took over all the talent acquisition, so global talent acquisition. And then about a year and a half ago, I also took corporate training and development.
Wow.
So talent programs overall means all talent programs. So acquisition and training and corporate training and development. So
That's great.
that's a lot of years packed into a short amount of time, but that's kind of the journey.
That's awesome. And I like that you were able to stay with one company and pivot and grow into different roles. If you don't like the role you're in, you can always stay in the same company and just try something different. That's a great lesson to learn. Any other key lessons that you learned along the way you'd like to share?
I mean, there's
Yeah.
We could do hours of just lessons you've learned along the way, right? But one, it's finding passion for what you want to do. 2, it's understanding that, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. It's the mistake you make over and over again. That's the problem. But if you're learning from these mistakes, and then ultimately we can say it's not mistakes. It's you're just learning ways not to do things. So yeah, it was just the grit, to pushing hard, and to understanding like along the way you may feel like it's never going to happen. Those kind of things, especially in life, all of us, bad things are going to happen.
Absolutely.
Right, and it's how we react to those things that will dictate your future. Right, there's 2 ways to react to it. It's one, I'm gonna let this thing drown me in depression and sorrow, and I'll never make it there. Or you know what, that sucked, and I'm going to buck up and I'm going to push through and I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to get better.
Absolutely.
So how you handle that is really a big way to how you find your future.
Absolutely. It builds character. So Gentex is headquartered in Zeeland. So what do you tell interns relocating to the Holland or Zeeland area who've never considered West Michigan as a place to live before?
Yeah, we talk about the lake, right? We
Yeah.
talk about Four Seasons. We talk about Zeeland is a great place, quiet place, family place. And Grand Rapids is a great family place too, but not that far from where Zeeland is. I mean, you have anything you ever want here, right? And then Chicago's not that far away, right? So, and we really, really talk about, people don't know, yeah, and we're going to talk about a little bit too, but the kind of technology manufacturing that happens in West Michigan, people don't fully understand like the kind of cool things that happen here in West Michigan. And so we try to show them those things and try to show them how we connect to who they are to something here, which is, there's something here for everybody.
Absolutely. And like you said, West Michigan has a deep manufacturing heritage. How do you explain the significance of that to an intern who grew up thinking of manufacturing as an old economy industry?
Yeah, I mean, so we talk through a lot. Gentex is very different, by the way, in the vertical integration we have. So yes, we're very heavy manufacturing. We are building product to sell to a customer. But we're also designing that product. We also have prototyping. We're from the ideation to build a physical product. We do it all in-house, right? So yes, it's manufacturing, and manufacturing isn't what you see in the movie. It's not dirty. It's not dark. It's not, right? People, I mean, you walk to our manufacturing floors right now, one is climate controlled.
Yeah.
72 degrees year round, right? So in the winter, you see shorts. In the summer, you see shorts, right? You're going to see people rocking the J's everywhere because they're not getting dirty, right?
Yeah.
So that's not what people think in manufacturing, and just the heavy automation technology things you can learn. And that's what we try to tell people is like, manufacturing isn't what maybe you saw in the movies, right? Back in the day. And we try to do a lot, even before university students, like getting high schools in there to show, hey, this is what your future could be. And manufacturing has so many opportunities.
Absolutely. So it's important to see it first before you make judgments. I like that. So Gentex interns meet with department leaders throughout the summer to understand how teams work. How should an intern make the most of those cross-functional conversations beyond just showing up to them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one, showing up is important, right? I mean, we all get busy. We all can make an excuse not to show up to the things, but it's so important to get there, to meet people, and to be curious, right? One thing I know about people in general, leaders, is they love to talk about what they do, right?
That's true, yeah.
So ask them, right? Find out what they do. Find out how they got to where they got to. I have a unique story, but everybody has a unique story, right? And what are those stories? And you can connect that way. And another thing is always important for me is to not be afraid to show who you are, right? Yes, be curious. Yes, go in and learn as much as you can, but we want to see you and what you have to offer. We already have me. We already have these leaders that we have. What are we missing? Could be you. We won't know that unless you don't show people.
Absolutely, for sure. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of Gentex's internship program as a whole?
Yeah, so this year we will have 70-ish interns, which is actually a little bit lower for us. Last year we had 115. The year before that I had 130, and that's just business climate and stuff like that, right? And 70 interns is still not small amount of interns. So we will get them in, and more than two things are really important for us. But one, it's we want you to see the full complexity of Gentex, right? You're not going to be stuck in a silo, your little cubicle, and not know what's happening in Gentex. I talked about the vertical integration. We want you to know all the things that are possible. We have a lot of times where intern will come in one internship and think this is what I want to do. But because they had a connection and they've seen other things, they're like, well, I want to do that. Maybe they come back next summer and try a different part of the organization. And that's pretty cool too. And the other part though is also seeing West Michigan, right? Because we want you to understand, like, yes, could this be a place you want to work? But also, maybe more importantly, can this be a place you want to live?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So for our internship experience, I have a amazing team helps put this intern experience together, and they're awesome. They understand, they connect closer to the interns that we have now. But to really say, hey, look at these things that can happen in West Michigan, in Grand Rapids, in Holland, in Zeeland, that you can be a part of. And so we do a great job of connecting to Gentex and to the community.
This year, Gentex is a sponsor of West Michigan Intern Connect, so your interns will be joining us throughout the summer at our main event, as well as our summer socials, so that they can get a better idea of West Michigan and get connected to the community. So we're really excited about that partnership. Thank you guys so much for that support.
Of course.
So for an intern at a large manufacturer like Gentex, how do you recommend that they build authentic relationships when they're only on site for a few months?
That's a great question. Authentic relationships are very important. One, I talked about showing up. I can talk specifically for Gentex is we have these events specifically for them to make connection,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not gonna go take your hand and make you go someplace, right? But they're there for that reason. So go, talk. Don't be afraid. The curious thing I'm talking about, and I just think in general, it's a good thing to be curious,
Yes.
right? To ask questions, to get to know people that way. Sometimes that's hard to do, right? I'm nervous. It's a big company. I don't know all these people, but go out and understanding that we want you here. We want to know who you are. So you're very important to what we do. So it's really us ahead of time saying that so they get into those places and feel more comfortable making those authentic connections.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it can get intimidating as an intern, especially when it's a larger company. What do you wish that more interns understood about manufacturing and technology companies like Gentex before they arrive? Things that might help them hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many times I have to tell somebody, be like, "Well, what's your idea?" Right? There's a. You also don't know everything, so be careful not to act like you know everything.
Absolutely.
But we have more on the other end where I'm just going to ask questions. I'm just going to be kind of the fly on the wall where you need to get in there, right? We are looking for talent. We are looking for great people, and we won't see the talent if you don't show that talent. So that's what I want people to understand is walk in and show how awesome you are.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to ask you some questions that we hope will provide some, job application experience, or I'm sorry, some intern. I'm going to rephrase again. I'm going to ask you some questions about job interviews and job applications to hopefully give the interns some insight into, from your mind, what the best practices are. So first off, from a talent acquisition standpoint, does it change your perception of a candidate when they negotiate? And what's the difference between negotiating well and negotiating poorly?
It does not change my perspective. I think what's important is if you're going to negotiate to understand what the market is.
Yeah.
Right. Understand we're connected with technical, students from all over the world, really. And to be honest, we're not going to pay the same as someone in California is going to pay.
Yep.
So if you're negotiating what someone in Cali is going to pay, we're not going to meet that, right? And what that showed me is you're not really doing your research.
Absolutely.
But two, let's be real here. It doesn't cost as much to live here as it does to live there, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we need to be aware of that. But so it doesn't bother me at all. Like I get it. You should do it actually at some level.
Yeah.
Show know your value, know your worth. But do some market research on that area, those kind of companies.
Absolutely. That's important. And then you've clearly interviewed a lot of candidates for various positions. So what's the single most common mistake you see interns or early career candidates make in a job interview?
The one thing that I think it bothers me more than anything in these interviews is, you'll ask questions and you'll want to get to understanding how someone works through problems, right? And it's the behavioral questions,
Yeah.
right? It's what are the things that I want to understand? We've all, like I mentioned, all in life, we've all been through things.
Yeah.
No one has a perfect work life. No one has a perfect school life, right? How many projects anyone ever done? And there's always somebody on the team that doesn't pull their weight, right?
Yeah.
How are you handling those things? Well, it's when they come to the interview, you ask these questions, and they try to give you the answer that makes them sound the best possible. Like, I strive too much for perfection. I'm too much a perfectionist, right? Or I work too hard, right? Some of those things may be true.
Yeah.
But you also make mistakes.
Absolutely.
We're not perfect. So let's talk through those things. And that's what I really want to know is when things happen, when you make a mistake, how are you handling those things? So we all are gonna. None of us are perfect.
Absolutely. So when you separate a bad answer from a good answer for behavioral interview questions, what does a good answer look like?
Yeah, it's walking through the steps, right? It's like this thing happened, real life.
Yeah.
This is how I handle it, right? And clearly explaining how you handle that.
Yeah.
That situation, and to be prepared to answer those questions, right? And really, like I mentioned, poorly is either saying, yeah, you know what, I've never had a problem at work. I've never had a problem in the group, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have said that, right? It's not possible. Even in my teams, which I love, they get mad at me.
Yeah.
right? They're probably mad at me when I left just now, but it's it's walking through those steps and really talking through these things that you work through and showing the result afterwards too. That's the big thing
Yes,
too.
100%.
So I can say I did this thing, but if I never followed up, I don't know what the results are. What did we really do then?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100% following a problem from beginning to end. I like it. So obviously we talk about how important it is for candidates to ask questions at the end of an interview. In your mind, how important is that, and what questions actually impress you?
I think it's important. I think it shows that you put thought and effort into the company as who we are. And really the questions I want people to ask at the end of the day is, I'm more impressed when they ask about the culture of the company,
Yeah.
right? And what it means like for me to belong in a company. We can talk through the technical aspects of the job, and that's going to be the same no matter where you go. But culture is different, right?
Absolutely.
We want people who want to be part of our culture, who can be an addition to our culture, not a deficit to our culture. So those kind of questions are the ones that, for me personally, impact me the most. And you get to other levels where you'll talk to someone in HR, and then eventually you talk to a manager. Those questions are important too. And then you can get more of the technical questions as well.
Yeah. I know I've been in interviews where I've asked about the culture, and it can be hard to gauge from an interview standpoint or from an employer standpoint, if there is going to be a culture fit. Do you have any recommendations on questions that interns can ask to see if it's a culture fit?
Yeah. Yes. It's so one, it's what's important, right? If sustainability is important to you, if community impact is important to you, ask specifically about what's important to you. To just say a blanket culture, right? It could mean a lot of different things. So to be
Absolutely.
specific of what matters to you as a person, right? If I'm really engaged in this kind of thing, and I want a company that will help the community, that will take care of the parks, that will take care of the kids, right? Like, talk about that and ask about it, and that's okay.
Absolutely. Be specific. I like that. So now, as we've turned into this like post-COVID world, virtual and hybrid interviews are now common. So what adjustments should interns or young professionals make to show up just as strong on screen as they do in person?
Yeah, and it really, every single one of our intern initial interviews, besides for me and someone at a career fair on site, which different conversation. I'm not a huge fan of college career fairs, but it's they're all virtual,
Yeah.
right? It's just so easy to do. And one thing to understand is you should still show up presentable
Yes.
and really, really, really understand what's behind you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So one, you don't want to accidentally have bias,
Yeah.
right? I'm a big Michigan Wolverine fan, right? We just won national champion. You have Ohio State flag behind you. We might have, I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking, but
But
just
we all Michiganders have that bias,
right.
You can't always.
And we all
but
have some kind of bias, right?
Yeah,
Just to be careful
absolutely.
what you have behind you and the
100%.
environment that you're into. I think it's important. We still want to, you're going to show up to an interview probably in a suit, dressed up. It really shouldn't be much different in a virtual interview. That's what we as recruiters want to see, that you care about this opportunity.
Absolutely. And then once you are starting work in terms of that remote versus hybrid, or remote hybrid versus in person, obviously a lot of the traditional workplace norms have blurred. So what etiquette standards do you still think matter the most, regardless of where someone is working?
Yeah. One, if you do a virtual interview, please have your screen on,
Oh my gosh.
right? Please have your
Yes.
screen on. It bugs you to all high heaven when someone doesn't have a screen. You don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then you ask them a question and then they don't answer right away. You're like, what are you doing
Yeah.
back
What are
there,
you
right?
Googling? Yeah.
So just, be present. And make it, especially when you're working virtually, remote, whatever that is, you have to make an extended effort to connect to people,
Absolutely.
right? Because it's so much harder to do. You're not going to have just walking down the hallway, hit somebody up. So what are you doing in the meantime to make sure you're making sense, especially for an intern who maybe doesn't know the culture yet, right? So how are you doing that? So I'll say right now, Gentex, our internships are all on site,
Yes.
right? And a big part of that is we need you to see what we do. And Gentex, for the most part, is on site anyways, but there's a big piece of that is the culture piece, right?
Absolutely.
And understanding who we are and who we want you to, that addition we've talked about.
100%. Yeah. So one of the questions that we get a lot is, that the trickiness especially now with there's all these different generations in the workforce, how we manage that communication style, because every generation has a different communication style. So do you have any advice on managing communication across maybe different levels of an organization or different generations? How do you talk to a peer versus a department director versus a VP?
Yeah, one, and this is also part of just getting to know people,
Yeah.
right? Because what you wanted, you can say things to a friend or peer that you will never say to an executive as they're walking down, right? And we do make it very easy for our interns to connect to different executives and different leaders, right? So it is very important that you still show up professionally. I don't want you to be a robot, right? That's also, we need to see your personality too,
Yeah.
but there is a level of understanding, like, no, this person signs my paycheck, so let's be careful how we talk, but still have fun,
Yes.
right? So, and part of that too is just understanding who you're talking to, who the group is, asking questions. How should I talk to this person? Um, every company has some set of communication behavioral assessments, right?
Yeah.
Talk about those and ask about those things,
Yeah.
right? Understand those things. And I think that you just need to ask questions to understand people, right?
Yes, 100%. I think that's just in general, a great piece of advice is asking questions, because every workplace is a little different. Every culture is different. So you don't know what it's going to look like unless you ask those questions and get the clarity, because it's far worse to not ask the question and find out you're doing something wrong than to ask up front. So overarching themes that we've gotten from interns in the past is that they know it's important to network. We talk about that all the time. Building relationships in West Michigan is crucial to building your career. So they know it's important, but they have no idea how to actually network. Can you give some networking advice? What's your top networking tip?
Top network tip. It's a tough one. One, show up. I mean, you're offering things at the right place, right? Gentex offers things. Go to these things, right? You're going to meet leaders there who are there because they want to engage with you, right? Understand that. And I think just you have something to offer, right? A lot of times people get nervous about, do they even want to hear from me?
Yeah,
Right? The imposter syndrome thing starts happening, right?
absolutely.
But no, you have something to offer. You're valuable. If you start that way, it'll make it a little easier to just initiate a conversation, right? A real conversation. This is what we're talking about, right? Ask questions about what they do.
Absolutely.
What do you do? What's your role? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Right? What do you look for in an intern?
I like that.
I mean, all of us will have that conversation, right? And which will lead into the next things.
For sure. Is that how you would start off a conversation? How would you say you're in a networking event and you don't know who to talk to, and there's maybe some people who are standing by themselves? You walk up to them, and what do you say?
Hey, I'm Daniel, intern at Gentex for the summer. I'm originally from here. Don't really know the area. Curious about who you are, what you do, and and go from there.
There you go. Yeah, keep it simple. I like it. All right. And then finally, I want to give your West Michigan favorites to our audience. So we've been trying to give some recommendations to our intern and young professional audience about favorite restaurants, favorite coffee shops, any hidden gems. So if you can share any recommendations you have so that they can experience those over the summer, that'd be great.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. It might lean a little Highlandy because, that's generally
okay.
where I stay.
That's
but,
great.
Actually, if I'm going to get sushi, love me some sushi, right? It'd probably be out here like a Sushiyama, something
Ooh.
like that. Love me some sushi out here. But I think a cool spot that maybe people don't know about, and I'm going to really tout the Dutch heritage of Holland, but De Boer Bakery in
Ooh.
Holland. There's two of them, but they do fresh bakery, right? But they also have a breakfast area, and their hippie hash, it's chorizo and potatoes and eggs and homemade. Oh, it's the coolest, best thing ever.
That sounds
So
great.
yeah. So if you are able to make it to Holland, De Boer Bakery, it's just a cool place, and really the Dutch heritage of Holland, the Zeeland area, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It really ties into that. So that's a cool place. And I'm actually a little bit of a coffee snob. I only do coffee at home. So
Oh, there you go. All right, fair enough. I like it. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the interns that you didn't get a chance to yet?
no, I just think it's hopefully they're listening, and welcome to West Michigan, and reach out, ask questions, be curious. Don't be afraid to show how cool they are and how much they have to offer.
I love that.
West
That's
Michigan.
great. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for listening to Intern Connect. The Intern Connect social series is keeping the momentum going all summer long. Next up is an evening at Millennium Park on July 15th. Head to hellowestmichigan.com to register and get all the details. We'll see you there.